amigos, amigas. Bienvenidos once again. Welcome to Lima in this nice day, not really blue sky, but it's still a beautiful day, typical sort of like wintry day of Lima. I really hope you enjoy today's tour. It's going to be lovely. We're going to walk along the boardwalk, the Malecon as we call it in Spanish, and we're going to visit two very important zones of this district of Miraflores district in Lima. We're going to visit the monument in Tihuatana. We're going to learn what that word means. We're going to cross the bridge together in direction to the famous mall Larcomar. So Larcomar shopping mall, which is at the end of this walking, is going also to help us understand the evolution of this district, because that part is also, it corresponds to the more modern architecture of Miraflores and the beginning of the touristic trend into this district back in the 1990s, late 1990s. So what a pleasure to have you all today here. Thank you so much for coming. I just saw some comments saying hi, so let me say hi to all the people joining. Hola Martín, ¿cómo estás? Hola querida, hola Michelle, thanks for coming, thank you so much. I really hope you enjoyed today's tour. Hola Marilu, hola Laura, hello, hello. Please feel free to comment, feel free to ask questions. I want you to feel as you were walking here with me, like in one of my in-person tours, because virtuality also allows us to do that, to feel, to have the sensation of being like virtually, no, in the cities we guys are trying to show you around the world. If this is the first time you are joining one of my tours, please feel welcome, be welcome. Let me send you a warm hug from Lima. And I do lots of tours of this kind in my city. I do city tours. I take you to visit different places. Every time we go to a different site, every time we learn a different story. So the intention on my side is showing the world, showing you, and through you also your friends and people you know that are coming to Peru, that Lima is a beautiful destination. So we're going to begin with the walking. Very soon we have a firefighter car. Sorry for that. And we are going to go in this direction backwards, backwards to me. We are going also to have a tour of about 30 minutes, more or less. And well, last but not least, if you would like to support this tour, your guide in Lima, with a tip, with a donation, that would be highly, highly appreciated. I am pinning to the chat, and also you can find that in the description of this event, the different methods you can support with a tip, with a donation. It can be on PayPal and also on Patreon, as a way to say thanks to the people who are kindly supporting. I know it's not always easy, and you don't have to do it if it's not, you're not in the position to do it, but if you can, I want to say thanks to you, not just with the word thanks. Also, I want to give you a little present, and to all the people who will be donating, I will be getting also an email confirmation from the person who is donating. I will send to your email a PDF with the information of today's tour. So if you want to learn more, do more investigation about the events, the characters, everybody we are going to talk about today, in that PDF you're going to have all of that information, like a little guide of the walking we will have today. Okay, so well, with no further to be said, my name is Vanessa Vasquez. I am your Lima City tour guide. I am a professional licensed tour guide in Lima, Peru, guiding for over 16 years in my city and my country. Enjoy today's tour. So let's begin. And we are going also to recapitulate a little bit what we've done in our last virtual tour here in Miraflores. We visited together the Park of Love, Love Park. We had a chance to see in detail this pretty park. Maybe you recognize the monument that we can see in the distance. It is called El Beso, made by a Peruvian artist, Victor Delfin, one of the most celebrated artists we have here in Peru. If you want to see the event, we have it, of course, in the YouTube channel, so you can also replay it as many times as you wish. So you can also go to that video at the end of this tour, of course, no worries. And now we're going to continue walking. So let's say we will connect this site now with the rest of the walking we have today. And we're about to visit Puente Villena, built in the year 1967. Okay, so Puente Villena was designed to connect these two sections of the pathway to the beach. Miraflores is known as one of the oldest districts of Lima, and the reason of the creation of this district, the reason of the appearance of this district in the 19th century, the 1800s, is related with its accessibility to the ocean. As you can see, we are quite elevated in this moment. We are about 80 meters above sea level. We are more or less 240 feet above sea level. And well, this is really the reason of the existence of Miraflores or Barranco or Chorrillos. This is another beautiful district of Lima, Chorrillos. Another one is Barranco. These districts appear as beach resorts for the upper class Limanians, for the people of, let's say, the aristocracy of aristocratic families of Lima from the 19th century, especially mid-19th centuries, when people started to be interested in going out from the city center, from downtown Lima, closer to the ocean, but looking not just for relaxation, not just for having a nice ocean view, also to cure diseases. Many people back in that time started to discover the benefits of immersion in cold water. They started to treat many different diseases, immersing in the cold, very, very cold, almost icy water that we have in some parts of the country. The temperature of the water here, well, we might perceive it is way colder than it really is, but it's about 14 degrees Celsius. So this is really cold water, especially considering that we are very close to the equator line. So in theory, we should be a tropical place. Our water should be warmer, but it is not because of the Humboldt current. So the Humboldt current is a cold current of water that comes from the south, comes from the Antarctica, and it decreases the temperature in the atmosphere of all the coast of Chile, the coast of Peru, and it sort of like turns down again in the limit between Peru and Ecuador. So we can see the Park of Love in the distance, the monument of El Beso, and here we have the other side of Bridge Villena. What is interesting about Bridge Villena, which we've been able to walk across it, but let's go on one side to see how pretty it is. It's a very beautiful bridge. It is considered one of the most beautiful bridges we have in Peru, and also structures we have in the city of Lima. But there is something interesting about the bridge. The bridge was not designed to have the plexiglass you see. It has, like covering the railings, the sides of the bridge. Originally, the bridge has just had a regular railing here in this section, right? So the plexiglass is new. Hola Maria, and thanks to the people that are just joining. Later also you can see the replay, the full replay of this event, so please stay with me. We are observing in the distance, watching in the distance, the beautiful bridge of Miraflores called Villena. Well, the name Villena comes from a mayor of the district. Eduardo Villena Rey. So this mayor, one of the many mayors the district had, was also very important in the history of this district. So that's why it was named the bridge after him. The curious part about this story is that this protection that you see here, which was put in the year 2004, was put there to avoid suicides. And this is a really sad story, and it's a true story. We had many suicides, all like life, many suicides that took place here in this bridge. The bridge was built, as you know already, in the year 1967, and the suicides became very common since the 1980s, like 1988 especially, is the time when suicides started to become a problem from here. And those suicides continue until more or less 2003, in big numbers. So that's why finally the City Hall had to install this plexiglass here to avoid more incidents. Also, this bridge is known as, like a high security zone. So people can walk, of course, along the bridge with no normality, as you can see people walking, but you cannot stop for long in the bridge. Right? Security guards are constantly there checking, so if you stand for long, you're going to be, visited by a security guard asking you, what you're doing, why you're there, just in case. So, this is the bridge of the suicides, the bridge of Lima, the suicide bridge of Lima. No longer, of course, we have decreased the number of incidents of even attempts. And the last one that happened in 2014. The number of suicides that took place there, there are different official numbers. 65 official numbers between 1988 and 2003, according to the District of Miraflores, and 120 since the beginning of the construction of the bridge in 1967 until 2003 by the National Police. Okay, so wow, what a beautiful monument here. And we're going to change a little bit the topic, the subject, and we're going to concentrate in this piece of art because we're going to see a lot of art today. The name of this piece of art is Intihuatana. Let me also go to the name in case because it's in Quechua, you probably don't know exactly how to write the name. Intihuatana, and it's a piece of art made by a Polish Peruvian sculpture artist Fernando de Cislo. Although the Polish Peruvian community is small, it has given us to Peru great personalities and people who have shined also in different fields. In the art, you can see, for example, Fernando de Cislo. He is one of the, he passed away some years ago in 2017, so far I remember, but he's still remembered as one of the most important let's say artists from the current of the abstract art. So we have a piece of art named after a famous Incan decorative element, or not really decorative to be honest, but a religious element in Machu Picchu. The name of that specific zone in Machu Picchu, which is translated into English as sundial, is Intihuatana, right? Inti means sun in Quechua. So Intihuatana is sort of like the place where the sun is moored. It is tied to earth. So and a way to interpret that side is sort of like a sundial. So Fernando de Cislo wanted to recreate, of course, in his style, that sundial here in Lima. And in the year of inauguration, it was 1994 when he inaugurated this piece. He said the following words, that as we all know, Intihuatana is connected to the Incas, like with the idea of mooring the sun with the earth. And we in Lima, where we don't see the sun much, we need our Intihuatana. Oh, we need one for us to bring the sun more often into the gray, sky of Lima. So there are moments in the year in which the sun also, and especially when we have the sun oriented in this section, the light of the sun comes from, this circle that you see there, this little sort of like eye. It looks like a little eye. It's very, very curious, very beautiful. So we have also from here an interesting also location. If you ever come on your own to Miraflores, you're going to find in this part accesses. Some of them look quite hiding, like almost secret, accesses to the beach, right? So this is for peatones, so pedestrians, and this is an access, sort of like a ramp that cross below the bridge first to the other side of the bridge, and then they have another pathway that goes down to the beach, right? So it's an excellent way to and safe way to go to the beach, right? We're going to remain up here in this level, so in that way we are going to see more of the Malecon of Miraflores. Martin has one question for me. Hola Martin, amiga, are there many Quechua speakers in Lima? Martin, yes and no at the same time. Why? Well, we have in Lima lots of migrants from the Andes. My grandmother, for example, she used to be originally from the Andes. She used to be from the central Andes, where also Quechua is still spoken. But when she came to Lima, she came adult already. She came with her husband. She came with my mom. She was very little. She was around 8 years old, and with the siblings of my mom. So when they came to Lima, they decided not to use any more Quechua, because Quechua, in a way, was sort of like a discriminated. No, so Lima is a city that is really overwhelming. It's a city that is so busy, and more back then than now. Quechua was sort of like, in a way, discriminated because it was not useful for businesses. So in Lima, we do have still a large community of people who are capable to speak, but unfortunately, it is not encouraged, this language, to be openly used, in public events. Still now, we are dealing with this, but there is a current of young people, universitarians, or in the arts, in the sculpture, in the music, that are trying to use Quechua in their compositions, in the art, as a way to honor their ancestors. We have here a pretty view of the ocean. Once again, we can see the elevation. Martin, thanks for your question, dear. Gracias. This cliff, this is the barranco. That's one of the ways how we call this depression, this eroded section that is really pebbles, and mud that give us an idea, the origin of the soil where we are in this moment, the soil where Lima is built. We were millions of years ago the bottom of a gigantic river, and the river that is now extinct dragged from the Andes these pebbles and deposited them here. We see in the distance surfers. I don't know if you're able to see the surface, but wow, what a beautiful view. And I don't know how to surf. I am very afraid of swimming in the ocean, but I love to see surfers. It's something mesmerizing. Well, we have excellent waves here, so if you know someone that loves surfing, recommend him, her to come to Lima to practice this sport. It's really fantastic. Lima has all the facilities. We have excellent beaches. That beach, for example, is called Macaja. This is Macaja Beach. And the next one is Waikiki. Waikiki, like the Hawaiian beach. And this is Macaja. So we have excellent facilities. We have schools of surfing. We have also rental of boards. So it's really like the place where to do it. So now we are seeing in the distance a restaurant. And this is also another highlight of our walk today. Let me do a zoom so you can see it a little bit better. I hope the connection is good for you, like you are having no problem with blurriness. Today, sometimes, the gods of the internet cooperate. So look how pretty this construction is. This is a restaurant. Oh, Diane, I'm so happy. Yes, thank you. Thanks for letting me know that. This is a restaurant, amigos. It's a restaurant on a pier, and it was inaugurated in 1983. The name of this restaurant is La Rosa Nautica. La Rosa Nautica, or the Nautic Rose. La Rosa Nautica was designed to look like the architecture of these 19th century beach resorts, European beach resorts, like Brighton, but there are architectures, restaurants, they are looking like this. So we replicated, we emulated that architecture with the intention of also sort of like appropriating of the idea of the beach resorts. Appropriated because this is the reason why Miraflores was created. Although we don't see anymore the beautiful Tudor-style houses that we used to see in the boardwalk, in the boardwalk of this zone. Now we have this sort of like, in my opinion, ugly buildings, but practical because how many people can live in this section, right? So we are accommodating lots of people to live in this part of Lima because it's of high demand. The price of living in one of these apartments is no less than $1 million if you want to buy. How many Peruvians can afford something like that, right? And rents are super expensive. That's why our Airbnbs are becoming a great trend in this section for the owners. They are making a lot of profits on these beautiful apartments. So this restaurant, La Rosa Nautica, is highly recommended. Highly recommended. Specialized in seafood, ceviche, arroz con marisco, Lima. So we're going to continue walking because I think we are having so much fun that this tour is going to be a little bit longer than 30 minutes. I hope you are okay with that. But we have to see more. And also talking about the Tudor houses, we have very, very few examples of the time in which Lima had the appearance of a European, some even Nordic city with a tropical climate, of course. So let's give a look to the house that is coming over here. So we used to have on the Malecon section, on this promenade that looks to the ocean, two things that are nowadays gone. Number one, we used to have houses like this. Can you see this pretty house? Can you recognize the sort of like a slope roofs that are typical of the European architecture? I hope yes. This is, of course, a reinterpretation of Tudor. It's not exactly how Tudor is, I know, but this is our reinterpretation of Tudor. So we used to have houses like this all along, the Malecon, and now we don't have them. They are gone forever. Another thing we used to have is we used to have more space of park in this section. So the houses were, like the one we just saw, were approximately 10 meters away from the border, right? So what happened with this part? Well, naturally, of course, the ocean has eroded a lot of the coastline in this section, because well, the material where we are standing this moment is a combination of pebbles, is a combination of mud, from millions of years ago, and the ocean, the work of the ocean is just eroding. So to stop erosion down on the beach section, there has been built a freeway called Costa Verde, Green Coast. But the Green Coast also, needed a space to be built. And originally, the ocean used to touch the cliff. So we have made a huge work here, reclaiming territory, reclaiming land that belong to the ocean, right? Elevating the soil also below to build the freeway. But also there was erosion done in this section too at the same time. So that's why the boardwalk used to be at least 5 more meters deeper, right, in that direction. But now, of course, it's gone. The families that used to live here were, of course, the upper class families of Lima. They were not middle class families. Most of them, at least, were like upper middle class, more inclined to an upper class. Most of them were European descents. Most of them were people who descended from Italians, French, Germans, English, also Spanish, of course. We had an old aristocracy that, their origins could be traced back to the time of the colonial era or viceroyal era. So this was the kind of people that were living in Miraflores. And their descendants are still, of course, people who are very proud of that mixed ancestry, because now we are all mixed, of course. Peruvians and especially Limanians, we have a lot of fusion, cultural fusion, which we are proud of. We are not just the children of the Incas, we're children, of course, of the Chinese, of the Africans, of the, let's say, the indigenous, of course. We are, most of us, more than 50% genetically indigenous. So that's what makes Lima. We were a little town back then, a town that was not even very well connected with for a little while. Are you able to hear me now? How is everything there? If you can, please give me a thumbs up if you are seeing the event. Okay, Martin, gracias, thank you. Well, sometimes we have glitches of the internet in certain zones because of the form, the shape of the cliff. Sayuri. See, I know, it stops. And also, we can refresh. There is a little button that comes and said refresh. That's when I notice that you are gone. But we have, of course, always the chance of refresh, right? Hola, Sayuri, querida. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás, amiga? Let's give a look to the surfers again. So, of course, this is a different type of surfing, not the one of the paradisiac beaches with flora everywhere and warm water or reefs. Instead, we have very cold water. We have cold water. We have, lots of humidity, of course, in Lima. Water that is 15 degrees Celsius year-round, but still gray waves. So, Miraflores is not anymore a little town. As I was saying this, I think was the last thing I was sharing with you all. Miraflores is now a district that is right in the center of the city. It is a district that is very busy, as you can tell, of course, the traffic active. And the neighbors of this district still, of course, are very proud of the beaches and on the history. And they're happy of tourism, but they are neighbors who are not so into tourism. Because when they were little, some of these neighbors, I'm talking about people who are around their 70s or their 80s, so they were able to see a complete different district, right? A district that was very peaceful, with few inhabitants, where, like a little, a town from a fairy tale. They also remember that, for example, their mothers used to byproducts to the nearby haciendas. There were some haciendas or fields, plantation fields that were not far away from where we are in this moment. I'll show you exactly where one of those haciendas was that had cows. So milk from the day, right? It was given door by door to the neighbors of this little almost beach resort still in the 1930s, because there were people who were not living permanently here, only during the summertime. Fresh fish, fresh fruits, like sale, dispose, like dispensed in every door of the neighbors in really tiny zone every day. So it was a complete different fairy tale lifestyle that nowadays people have. We are just few steps away. The shopping mall, the most famous, is the shopping mall of Lima, Larcomar. So we're going very, very soon to be there. Not before, of course, showing you from the side, of course, once again, the shopping mall, which is on the cliff. It is not above, it is inserted inside the cliff. And we have also the freeway, the Costa Verde, and beaches. We have Redondo Beach, which is another of the beaches we have in Miraflores. And in the distance, we see other districts also straight ahead. So we're going now to see the mall from above. We're not going inside, we're going above, because I think it's very pretty above. And the view is, yes, Martin, the view is the reason why people come to the mall. Imagine, having a nice lunch at Tanta or Mango. They are two of the most famous restaurants we have in this mall. As a tourist, right, having a nice lunch, a nice ceviche, and look into the ocean. By the way, when our friend Patrick Tomei, a guy from Banff in Canada, came to visit me, we went there. We went to Larcomar. We were, behaving like good tourists, right? And we had a nice pisco sour there. So we had a fun time. So this is what we do. This is what we do. We come usually with our friends, our people who have not come to Lima for a long time. Maybe they are living in the States or living in Europe, and they are coming back to Lima. We go to those restaurants in Larcomar. But Larcomar is not just about food. This is, by the way, the entrance for cars. So if you come with your car, of course, you come to the parking section under. You can also come with a bike, of course, no problem. We have excellent restaurants here. We have also deluxe stores of international fashion brands. We have also Peruvian fashion brands, right? So we have movie theaters. We have ice cream shops. We have coffee shops. We have all kinds of stores that not just tourists will request, of course, when they come to a city, they want to buy things, nice souvenirs. Also for locals, no? We have rental of bicycle. Yes, because here in this district, people take care very much of their physiques, and they want to do sports. And it's not just for tourists, it's for locals, for neighbors of this district. And we have also some interesting story associated with the construction of Larcomar, because what do you think about this park? If you were, consulted to have a Larcomar in your community, would you agree to have one? So let's think about it, right? Don't forget to share this too with friends and press the button. Thank you, Sayuri. Muchas gracias. Sí. Gracias, amiga. Please share this event. When it's finished, also you can share it. You can send it to a friend that is coming to Lima. If you want to also help Lima, promote Lima, this is a way also to do it. It really helps a lot. So, what about, my question? Do you remember I was asking, would you like to have a place like this one in your community? Well, let me tell you what happened when the plan of the Larcomar Mall was, put in the table in this district. most people didn't like the plan. A lot of ambientalists, pro-environmental, groups, neighbors of this district, and not just neighbors that were not really well known, like famous neighbors. One of them was, for example, our Nobel Prize, Mario Vargas Llosa. He was completely against Larcomar Mall because he said that it will break completely the peace of this location, will drag too many tourists, and well, these people were born in a quiet little town, so they didn't like the idea. Well, there was a big problem, but finally the mall won, and it was inaugurated on 1998. And who recognizes this very cute fella over here? Does anyone knows who he is? Of course, I think we're going to get closer to the description of our bear, which is the most famous Peruvian in the UK. Yes, Karen, is Paddington. And Paddington bear comes or came from darkest Peru, from the jungle, the Amazon, right? So this is a spectacled bear. Of course, our spectacled bears are protected species from Peru, and well, here he's about to travel to the UK. We are very, very happy to have this monument. Of course, it says here, please look after this bear. I know he was very well taken care of in the UK, and well, every once in a while he comes back to visit his aunt here in Lima. So we have here a little bit of the information about Paddington, and the story of Paddington started in the year 1958 with the author of this children's book, a British author, Michael Bond. So this monument was created to commemorate also the friendship between these two nations. And Peruvians are very, very friendly and always wide open arms to visitors, to have good relations with different countries, with all countries around the world. We are a very, very friendly country. So we are going now to continue seeing over here two important elements related with this zone. Thanks for the heart, Martin. We have the shopping mall. Look how fancy. It is a really fancy shopping mall. It's not just like a regular mall that you will see in Peru, in Lima. The view is spectacular. The restaurants are fancy. You will not see a simple, like a let's say regular or average restaurant. And of course we have TGI Fridays, because we Peruvians love lots of, especially American cuisine, American food, American junk food, anything that is American, we really love, we're fascinated about. We have McDonald's, Burger King, Pizza Hut, TGI Fridays, Popeyes, KFC, I don't know if I say already KFC. Yes, we have them all. With also fancy Peruvian restaurants. Mangoes is over there in the distance. Highly, highly, highly recommended. This event is not sponsored by Mangoes. It's just my honest recommendation, by the way. So, well, there are many ways to go down to the mall. The mall is open since more or less 10 a.m. in the morning. Most of the stores are already open until 10 p.m. more or less. There's security all the time here, every day of the week. Even in holidays, you're going to find stores open and security always, probably because we have very fancy hotels, as you can see, like the JW Marriott Hotel or the Miraflores Park Hotel, and many more. So as we're coming to the last part of this tour, I would like to tell you something about the monument we have in the distance over there. There is a monument we're going to get closer to it, and it's a monument dedicated to a hero, a national hero, a young man of 24 years old who was, he served as a pilot to the Air Force. And the name of this park is Salazar, right? This is Parque Salazar, dedicated to this, the memory, the honor of this man. So we're going to get a little bit closer to see what is in this monument and why it is so important. So it was the year 1937, and there was a rehearsal. It was September 14. I remember very well the date because my birthday is September 15. So it was September 14, 1937, and Mr., you are going to see his full name, Alfredo Salazar Sadwell, he was piloting his plane, right? It was a rehearsal of a ceremony that will take place next day on September 15 in honor of a inauguration of a monument dedicated to another pilot and hero also, Jorge Chavez, who died in France. So that's another story. We're going to that monument soon, by the way. So, well, he was piloting his plane. He also had a co-pilot, a technician, I think, behind him. And they were doing, like some, flies around the city. Of course, city of Lima was very little. This was a little town outside the historic center still. So when he was piloting around this section, his plane started to get fire, right? So there was fire, burning, so, well, it was a dangerous situation, and he also burned in the moment when he was on the plane. And this part of the story was narrated by his co-pilot. So Alfredo Salazar asked his co-pilot to eject from the plane, right? And he said, no, we're going to stay until the end. Let's do it together. Let's land together the plane. But he said, no, you have to eject. You have to eject. And he put pressure. He commanded him to eject, right? He did it with his parachute. He was able to come safely down. And Alfredo Salazar, seeing his plane, to crash on the city, if he didn't do something until the last minute, he stayed in the plane. He could eject it, but he didn't. And he, crashed it in a zone that was completely, not inhabited, out of the city, out of Miraflores even, but at the entrance almost of Miraflores, in that direction. Let's say about more or less 6 kilometers from here. That's why the monument is looking in that direction, because there is where he crashed his plane intentionally on the cliff. So in honor to this heroic act, immediately he was elevated as a hero, to be hero. And this monument, years after, in the year 1953, was created. So that's why we have a park dedicated to Alfredo Salazar Sadwell, and, well, a young man, only 24 years old, right? So I really hope you enjoyed today's tour. It's been such a pleasure to have you today, amigos, amigas. Sorry if it took a little bit longer than the 30 minutes I thought it would take, but I think we had a lot of consistent, rich information about this part of Lima. I really hope this video will be also, when it turns into a video, now it's a live, but it's going to turn into a video, becomes very helpful to anyone who wants to visit Miraflores and, maybe has no idea what to do here. So they say, can I go out? Where can I go? So, well, here is where you should go. You have to come to the Larcomar shopping mall. You have to come to see the beautiful monuments that we've seen. And you have to hire an official tour guide to show you Lima. What we are seeing here is just little highlights, little bits, but a professional tour guide will tell you everything, every single detail. We know the story of even that flower which is over there. We know the story of that stone which is over there. So please hire a official tour guide and support official tour guides in Lima and everywhere you travel in Brazil, in Argentina, in Chile, anywhere you go. Official tour guides are going to give you a wonderful introduction to our culture because we are interpreters of our culture. Thank you so much, amigos. And if you can, please give a like to this video. Help me sharing, comment it. If you have pictures of the day, please share them on our groups. You can also see in the description of this video, of this event, the 2 links of the groups, of Facebook groups I'm supporting. So please join there if you haven't. And there you can share your experience if you like it. Also, that will help me to share, to pass the voice about what I do here in Lima. And please don't forget about the tours of my colleagues of Sayuri in Brazil, in Salvador de Bahia. She's here today in the chat, so thank you so much, amiga, for coming. Her channel on YouTube is also shared in my recommended channels here in my YouTube page. So please follow my colleagues, follow my friends from around the world. They are offering great content every day, and they are streaming live everywhere just with the intention of sharing well, our world with you. If you can support this event with a tip, a donation, any amount will be welcome. Remember that I'm going to be giving you a little gift, which is a PDF with all the information I have shared with you all today. So the names of the parks, the names of the monuments, the names of the creators of the sculptures will be in that PDF. That's a little gift from me to you all. Muchas gracias, amigos. Take care. Have a lovely rest of the day and see you soon tomorrow, I hope, in my tomorrow's tour in Callao. Bye-bye. Gracias. Chao, chao, amigos. Bye-bye. Gracias. Thank you, Martín. Gracias, Sayuri. Gracias, gracias, amigos.